Hi there. So, Jeranism's up to his old tricks again. We can watch his CGI intro. Apparently it's not okay for NASA to use CGI at all, but he can for his little propaganda introductions. So let's cut to the chase. Basically, he's telling fibs again. Let's hear what he says.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeranism, back with another video for you today. This video is for those I always hear saying that they don't ever see bubbles in spacewalks. Well, perhaps you watch spacewalk highlights that NASA puts out. Instead, I suggest you watch EVAs live or find the full EVA. Watching the highlights that NASA puts out isn't really the best way to catch NASA deceiving you.
So Jeranism is about to claim that ice flakes blown out by the cabin pressure remaining in the airlock before the astronauts venture out is bubbles. And basically it's just him fibbing again, and I'm going to show you why he is wrong.
Alright, so we're looking at the recent spacewalk from March 24th, 2017. You can see the baloney door there is being opened, and I circled it so you can see exactly where I'm talking about. And these astronauts are preparing to go outside. So if you watch closely near that baloney door, you'll see lots of bubbles here shortly. Then what I'll do is I'll zoom in and let you watch again from a much closer position. And then hopefully you can see why so many people have questions about what NASA is doing. For starters, why is that light always flashing like that? We see it on the ISS Live.
Now, I used to work on camera systems and I can tell you why it's flashing. It's the automatic gain control in the cameras. The camera is trying to adjust to contrasting light conditions. I don't know why NASA doesn't use better cameras.
We see it on spacewalks all the time, but never from the ground as the sun flashing in and out as it sets. But let's listen in now, and remember to keep your eyes where the circle was before, and you will see space bubbles.
And check power LEDs. All 4 LEDs are off.
All 4 LEDs off.
For both of you on your DCMs, demate your SCU, install the DCM cover, and stow the SCU in the pouch.
The crew members going through some final steps before they get out the door. Just to update you, the spacewalk has officially started. That's our time coming at 6:24 a.m. Central, 7:24 a.m. Eastern, while the station was just a little under 250 statute miles just to the north of Indonesia.
Finding my pouch is not going to be easy. Once you get in, let me know, get yours in, let me know, because I'm going to have to come your way a little bit. Okay?
Alright, so now we'll zoom in close, and remember there will be 2 separate little bursts. Now some people may say, well, those are just little particles or little ice pieces. Well, then they should orbit with the ISS as they are falling around the planet, just like the ISS. There's no reason for ice particles or air bubbles or dust or anything to fly rapidly out of the airlock door at rapid paces. I mean, they're not being shot out of the door. What's going on here?
So basically Jeranism's leading you up the garden path. There's no reason why ice crystals wouldn't form on the hatch if it was leaking some oxygen or some air. As the air is vaporizing into the vacuum, it would form crystals there. It would get really cold. Then as the hatch opens, any remaining air pressure in the airlock from the cabin pressure would literally blow those crystals out. And that's what you were seeing.
They should not rise rapidly to the surface. Many people will then say, but they didn't rise up. They went off to the side. Well, yes, but we can just take the video, as I'll do right now, and turn it to the left, and now all of a sudden, the bubbles, or particles, or whatever you want to call them, rise straight up to the surface as things in water generally do. So, for those with eyes to see, it is pretty obvious what's going on here. And if you're someone who backs NASA no matter what, well then, nothing will convince you.
So if you really look at these particles as they move away from the ISS, you'll notice that at times they disappear. And this is because they're little flat pieces of ice, and when they're edge on, you can't actually see them, and then they become face on and you can see them clearly. Bubbles would be visible all the time. I'll also show you that the trajectory of these pieces of ice are not all in the one direction like bubbles should be. In fact, they're spread over about a 30-degree angle of dispersion as they come out of the hatch. So here are those vectors or lines that I was talking about, the paths that these particles travel in, and if they were bubbles, they'd all travel in the same direction. They'd all be running in uniform parallel lines, which I will show you a little bit later an example of. But in fact, they all head off in different directions as per the lines. If you continue to watch, you'll actually see them start coming out and heading off following those lines. So there's one, and it's following the line. And there should be another one shortly. If you continue to watch, you will see there's another, there's a few more, and as you can see they are following those lines, heading off in all different directions, not all in the one direction as if they were bubbles underwater, which head all in the same direction. They all head up. Okay, so they're spreading out and they're not heading in one direction. So now he waffles
Russian
on.
Astronauts found sea plankton. Yes, you heard me correctly. Sea plankton on the ISS windows. Yeah, Russian officials claim that these creatures were blown there by air currents and able to survive temperatures sub-zero and hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit, and able to survive in the vacuum of space while being bombarded by cosmic radiation. They think that they were uplifted to the station at 260 miles. So if you were okay with that, what difference does air bubbles make?
Well, I'm good with that because your air bubbles are bullshit.
All right, next.
Here he tries to go on to say that there's some sort of oddity and fakery or trickery involved and that the Earth is moving with the equipment, and also he complains about the breaking down of the camera footage, and it can all be explained with one little piece of information. The astronaut is wearing the camera on his head, which means there's no wire going back to where that footage is being transmitted down to Earth from. It's actually being transmitted back to the ISS itself, and that's probably why the connection keeps breaking up, and that's why the Earth appears to be moving with the equipment, because the camera's on his head and he's moving independent of the piece of equipment and the Earth. So the equipment's staying in position to the Earth, his head moves, and thus it makes it look like everything else is moving. So I'll play it again and speed it up so you can really get an idea of what I'm talking about. So, just look at what's in the field of view. There's a pair of hands there with spacesuit gloves on. The guy is working on a piece of equipment, and the camera that you are looking at the footage with or through is on his head. So as he moves his head, the camera moves, and that's independent of the piece of equipment that he's working on and independent of the Earth. So the piece of equipment that he's working on in relation to the Earth is not really moving at all. It's his head moving with the camera on it.
We have some very interesting footage, very glitchy, as spacewalk footage usually is, because I guess that the video is harder to capture in space than in the space station, where we get like 4K quality video. This is different, I guess. But look how the Earth moves with the equipment. And if you don't find that funny, well, I find you funny. So in a second here, take a look at the Earth, which will appear on the upper left. You'll see a little corner. There it is. Look at it moving And then look at the upper right, you'll see through that little white section there, and you'll see it's just moving the whole Earth. Move it along. Yep, there it goes, moving it. Yeah, definitely looks pretty real to me. I can't really understand why anybody would question anything NASA does, because it's legit. Science. Fact.
Sounds like a paranoid rant to me.
Only morons would ever question what's being told to you. Don't ever second guess people. They're always telling the truth. Here we get some more glitchy footage, but there it is in the background. The big blue marble. There in all its glory, the curvature and all. Easy for us all to see. But there is one little problem. If that's the curvature of the Earth glitching in and out, then why do we also see this footage in the space?
So here's some footage of astronauts actually training in the water. This is a training exercise. It's simulated zero gravity. And look at the bubbles everywhere. I suppose you're going to tell me they CGI those out on the ISS. Well, if they CGI those out, why don't they get those other ones that you're talking about? And just look at the face inside the helmet. The level of distortion due to the diffractory difference because of density of the water.
Is that the same Earth? Is that the same curvature? That certainly looks weird. That looks flat.
So what's happening here is the camera's a fisheye lens, and it's basically taking the curvature in the image out. If you look at the light in the middle of the screen, it's oval shaped, and that's because of the fisheye lens. If you look at the pole, the tubing at the bottom of the screen that the lights are on, it appears to be bent when in fact it would be straight. So that is what's happening. It's the curvature being taken out of the image by the fisheye lens. So now Jeranism proceeds to come up with some numerology stuff that supposedly proves that, you know, NASA's Satan or something. I don't really know. But what I'm going to show you is here how simple it is to actually come up with some sort of, you know, mysterious thing that proves nothing at all.
His YouTube channel name in. So we need J E R A N I S M. Now, since there's actually 5 letters in this guy's first name, Jeran, and the Roman numeral for 5 is V, we'll put a V in there. Holy hell. Can you see that? Can you see that? 666.
So as you can see, it's not hard to turn the tables on Jeranism and make something out of nothing out of his name.
And again, should we even be surprised? In the Strong's Concordance, word number 5375 is NASA, N-A-S-A or N-A-S-A-H, but the NASA means to lift, to carry, to take. But if you look at the N-A-S-A-H, that means
666.
To beguile, to deceive.
I've blown it wide
And
open.
the very first place that shows up in the Bible is Genesis 3:13.
It's now
And the
confirmed.
woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. The word used in Hebrew was nasha.
So since we're on the meaning of names, what does Jeranism mean? Jeran's the guy's name, and ism, when you look it up, means ideology. So is his channel all about Jeran's ideology, Jeran's religion? Is that what he's saying? He's saying that flat earth is his religion? I think that's what he's saying. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong here, but maybe I'm onto something. I mean, you've seen the 666 thing before, and now we've exposed that it's a religion. Does that mean that flat earth is the devil? Flat earth is the work of Satan? Is that what we're saying? Is that what he's getting at? I don't know. Anyway, let's see what he says about the numbers when it comes to NASA.
And lastly, if you're into gematria, you might want to take a look at the reverse ordinal system, which is simply A through Z, but the numbers go backwards. If you take the name National Aeronautics and Space Administration, go ahead and put a number to each of those, and when you do, and you add them all up, you get, surprise, 666.
Yeah, we've all seen how we can construe that, eh?
So as far as I'm concerned, I've had enough of science. I've had enough of all this doctors and PhDs. I know what's going on here. We've been lied to, and I mean big time.
So anyway, there's 2 more spacewalks in the next 2 weeks. Check them out. Watch them live. Tell your friends and family that they should look into the idea that NASA is and has been fooling humanity for 60 years. As always, thanks for watching.
Pardon me.
Like if you do.
Wait for it. He's going to ask you to donate.
Want to donate so I can keep bringing you fantastic content. Check my Patreon or PayPal at the end here.
It's not about the money, though.
Don't lie and open your mind, because there is truth inside. This has been Jeranism. Till next time. Peace.
So there you go. It's just another episode with a bunch of just deceptive rubbish and rot. Nothing but complete and utter crap. And then at the end of it, you find out what he really wants. Hey, call me what you like. It's fact. I've shown you the reality. I've shown you the truth. You want the truth, you've got the truth. I got no Patreon. I got no PayPal. Have a great day. Catch you later.